Welcome to the Arclight Battery, your power source for all things Warcraft Rumble related. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you 5 of the best units to use if you don't have the talents for them. These units are fantastic without their talents, and the talents may add a little bit of extra flavor to them, but they really don't need them to be excellent at the job they already perform. But before we get into today's video, I just want to say thank you so much for being here. At the time of recording this, we're at 2,800 subs, which is just astronomical to me. It's so cool to see that. Thank you guys so much for being here, and thank you for the support. And without any further ado, let's get into the video. The first unit we have is one that we start out with, which is awesome for you guys. This is Safe Pilot. She is a 3 gold cost unbound unit that is very good at supporting your push in PvE, and is also very good at claiming treasure chests in both PvE and PvP. She's used to deny gold from your opponent. She's used to tank dragon towers currently in PvP because they deal drop-off damage. You can just drop her on the outside of the tower's range. She'll walk in, start doing damage, and the tower will aggro to her. And it doesn't do very much to her because she's standing at max range. She's fantastic, and she's just very good at supporting whatever you're doing anywhere on the map. So, fantastic unit. Her talents add a little bit, but they are not needed. She already does what she does amazingly well without them. The next unit we have is Quilboar. He's a 2 gold unbound tank with resist. Unbound is fantastic. He's used in PvE to aggro bosses before your push gets there, to turn certain units around that do AoE damage before your push gets there. He's used at contesting gold in PvP. So you can drop him where a safe pilot is about to land to deny them getting that treasure chest, and then Quilboar generally wins that trade. He is just fantastic overall. Being unbound is amazing. He's on demand whenever you need him. He tanks towers pretty well in PvP currently, as long as you drop him at max range. And his talents don't do a whole lot. You can tunnel quicker, deal poison damage when emerging, or dealing a small amount of damage back to melee attackers. All of these talents are decent, but they don't really help him with what he's already good at, which is just being an on-demand tank. They are fantastic. Perfect tank for pretty much every build. The next unit we have is Blizzard. It is a 4 gold spell that puts an AoE on the ground that slows things in it and deals lots of damage inside. It's actually a ton. There's so much utility you can get out of this. You can drop it on giant squads of things. You can use it in control decks to just place it on the boss and deal damage while you invest the entire rest of your gold into just defending your base, while eventually whittling down the enemy with Blizzard. It kind of plays the same role as Execute does in some maps. I think it does about the same damage as well. The only problem is that maybe you fight something with Resist, and this doesn't do as much as Execute, but those are few and far between. This is a fantastic spell. You can use it to support pushes that you have coming, kind of like a Quilboar or a Safe Pilot, where you take out threats to your push before the threats actually intercept your push. They're just such a good spell. Blizzard is fantastic. Its talents are decent. There's one that makes it to where enemies take 30% extra physical damage, one that freezes enemy troops in place, and one that summons an additional Blizzard at your base when you play it. But none of these talents are really needed. This is just a fantastic spell all around without having talents for it. Next unit we have is Harpies. It is a 3 gold cost flying squad that has probably the highest DPS in the game with all 3 of them. So the issue is they're very squishy. However, you use Safe Pilot and Quilboar and Blizzard and things of that nature to support your Harpies. If they get to a boss in PvE, they will absolutely decimate it. You just need to be able to protect it. A good combo with this, and I know this is a talentless video, but if you have Execute with the Bloodlust talent, giving them Bloodlust will absolutely demolish a boss. They already kill bosses super quick, but if you can Bloodlust them, obviously it's that much quicker. So, fantastic units for PvE. In PvP, they're a little rough just because they cost 3 gold. Chain Lightning kills them on even level for 2 gold, so you're losing gold every time you play them and your opponent has Chain Lightning. But they don't always have Chain Lightning, so, you know, it is what it is. They're not great against Dragon Towers either right now, but against the Arrow Towers, they're not bad. Our last mini that I think is excellent without talents is Wagon. So it's a 3 gold cost siege unit. It doesn't hit flyers, but outranges towers with no talents. Not rocket towers, however, it outranges normal towers. This is fantastic for a lot of different maps. It really helps you take advantage of claiming towers on PvE maps. PvP, it's a little less good just because Safe Pilot is so prevalent, but it's just so good without talents. Now, it does have a talent called Flay Trebuchet, where it increases its range by +2. This is really good for fighting Onyxia, as it stands outside of Onyxia's range and is able to deal damage to her. However, this isn't necessary, especially until very late in the game. Onyxia is probably the last thing you'll do as far as PvE goes, so you probably don't need it. Fantastic units. All these guys are things that I would play in different decks if I were progressing through the campaign and I did not have talents. Now, let's talk about 2 units as a bonus that are awful. I'll say awful. They're not quite awful, but they're pretty bad until you get talents on them. And they're 2 very popular minis, so try not to fall into the trap of using them until you get their talent. The first one are Whelp Eggs. These guys are good, but what makes them amazing is their Flame Burst talent, where when they hatch from their egg, or when something hits them, they damage nearby units. So generally, these guys are played on top of things that deal AoE damage, or just ranged units that are pesky, and the ranged unit will kill the eggs. They'll kill themselves because of the Flame Burst damage, and then you have just random whelps on the battlefield, which is just fantastic. However, until you get the Flame Burst talent, they're not amazing. And then our last one is our Shaman here, Frostwolf Shaman. What makes this talent, or what makes this unit very good, is the Earth Shield talent, where she grants armor to a nearby ally. The ability only has 1 charge, but generally you couple it things that already have resist or are already very tanky without armored, and you give them armored. So things like Dracasath, Fire Elemental, things of that nature. She heals and she does some weak attacking, but she's not fantastic until you get this talent. So I would probably avoid using her unless you're playing some sort of, maybe a Footman build that requires Chain Light, or Chain Heal rather. She's a decent support to that, but she's not really strong until you get the armored talent. So those are 5 of the best units in the game that are playable without talents. They all do their job very well without the talents. The talents just add a little extra spice to them and make them just a little bit better, but don't feel bad about playing these guys with no talents. They're fantastic. So, if you enjoyed today's video, give it a like, subscribe, add a comment, tell me what you're thinking. I super appreciate you guys being here, and it really helps a small channel like mine grow. So, until next time, thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.